Let's call to order this meeting, the regular BCC meeting on Tuesday, September 24th, 2024, and we'll have a roll call.
Commissioner Anna Hamilton.
Here.
Commissioner Justin Green.
Here.
Commissioner Anna Hansen.
Present.
Commissioner Camilla Bustamante.
Present.
And Chair Hank Hughes.
Present.
Thank you.
Okay, let's stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Salute the flag of the state of Mexico and the Z symbol of perfect friendship among united cultures.
And the land acknowledgement. I acknowledge that the county building in Santa Fe County is on the original homelands of the Tiwa people, who know it as Oga Poge Owingeh, White Shell Water Place. And a moment of reflection. Sheriff's Office Deputy Anthony Curry here.
Let us take a moment to focus on the work ahead of us today, being ever mindful of the decisions, and in the best interest of our community, we take a moment of silence.
Thank you. All right. Approval of agenda. Are there any changes to the agenda, Commissioner Manager Schaefer?
Thank you, Mr. Chair and Commissioners. The only proposed change to the amended agenda as presented is the withdrawal of action item 6B. This was a proposed agreement with Terralogic Document Systems. Want to allow some additional time for coordination between our growth management department, the folks working on our ERP procurement, as well as our records management team. Other than that change, there are no proposed changes to the agenda as presented, though I would note that the amended agenda for today's meeting was posted on Friday, September 20th, at approximately 5:15 p.m., which is in excess of the 72 hours required by the Open Meetings Act. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
Move to approve the agenda as amended. Second.
A motion by Commissioner Hamilton, seconded by Commissioner Bustamante. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, we have the approval of the agenda. Removal of 6B. Years of service, retirements, and new hires. Manager Schaefer.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and Commissioners. It's my pleasure and honor to acknowledge several county employees who are celebrating significant milestones with us in the month of September. The following employees are recognizing their 5th year anniversary with the county. They are Ann Garcia in the Finance Division, Andres Lopez at the Corrections Department, Nicolette Martinez in the County Assessor's Office, Roger Procino in the County Attorney's Office, and Dwayne Colbinson in the Adult Detention Facility. Celebrating 15 years with us is Axel Hernandez in our road maintenance group at Public Works. So we want to acknowledge the continuous service to the county of those employees. We also are recognizing 2 employees who are retiring from county service during the month of September. They're William Baca in the Housing Authority Division and Martin Dayano in the Sheriff's Department. So we wish them all the best as they end their career with Santa Fe County and move into the next chapter of their life. For the month of August, we had 22 new hires, including many in the public safety realm. We had one new emergency communication specialist basic who was hired for the Regional Emergency Communications Center, Andres Rodriguez. In the corrections department, we had Elizabeth Fox join the team as a booking clerk, and David Gallegos as a licensed practical nurse. We had several detention officers. They were Jared Hatuli, Adon Rivera, and Jacob Sotres. In addition, Arnold Lerma also joined the corrections department as a maintenance technician. In the county assessor's office, Ryan Baca joined the team as an appraiser trainee, and we had two new individuals join Public Works, Michelle Caskey, who is the new real property supervisor, and Robert Hayes as a solid waste maintenance worker. In the sheriff's department, we had a total of 8 lateral hires, including 7 sheriff deputy 3s and 1 sheriff deputy 2. Those new deputies are Brian Archibek, Donna Chavez, Brenda Ford, Gerald Lovata, Mitchell Myers, Rafael Rodriguez, Andres Sanchez, and Eric Steen. So it's great to welcome so many experienced deputies to our ranks. In the county clerk's department, Janeth Ochoa joined the team as a recording clerk. In the county treasurer's office, Ariana Gurule is working as a tax cashier. And finally, in the fire department, Veronica Folgate joined the fire department as a secretary senior. And excuse me, I'm not sure how he got moved around, but there was one additional sheriff deputy 3, Paul Blay. So again, join me in welcoming all of those new hires, wishing our retired team members all the best, and acknowledging the continuous service of those who've dedicated 5 and 15 years to county service. Thank you.
Thank you, Manager Schaefer. Any comments from the board? I would just say that it's great to see so many sheriff's deputies on board. And congratulations, of course, to the people with the reaching the years of service. All right. Recognition of employees for awards, accreditations, recognitions, and other accomplishments.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm pleased to recognize the Santa Fe County Clerk's Office and the fact that it was awarded the 2024 Guardian Award for its tabulator security program called Project Bruno. And this award was made at the 39th Annual National Election Center Conference in Michigan. As I understand it, Project Bruno is a first-of-its-kind pilot program designed to protect election tabulators from physical theft, tampering, and unforeseen disruptions. It incorporates GPS tracking, geofencing, something to do with acceleration and accelerometer sensors, and uninterruptible power supplies to ensure continuous security for tabulators left unattended at polling sites. This is a significant recognition, as Santa Fe County is the only county in the state to receive an award from this organization, which is granted by fellow election administrators. So again, it's a meaningful honor within the field of election administrators, and I'd welcome either the county clerk, if she is online, or the chief deputy clerk for the Bureau of Elections to speak if they have any additional things that they would like to add.
Good afternoon, Chair, Commissioners. Thank you for this, mentioning this, because we get so deep into the elections that we forget, that we're doing some pretty cool projects that not a lot of, so that institution gives awards to basically, like, we call them, the big leagues. So the Los Angeles County of the world, the Denver counties of the world. And for us to be, getting an award was really cool. So we're so thankful. Yeah, accelerometer, I had to figure out what that was, And so it's basically, if it's moved within a certain range that we determine, then we know that they're being moved illegally, right? And so if they're unplugged, then we get an alert in our messages. It's a text alert saying like, hey, this device was unplugged. Make sure that it's plugged so that the next morning when you go vote, the machines are connected. And so yes, the team worked really hard. We called it Project Bruno because at first when we were deploying it, it was top secret. We didn't talk about Bruno. And so then finally when we won, we had to share it with a lot of different counties that are interested in our different components, the GPS tracking, the accelerometer, and then also the smart plugs. And so we're really excited to work with local vendors. What our GPS program is out of Rio Rancho, and then the smart plug, she's out of some small community in Denver, in that area. So yes, thank you for mentioning this, and we're excited to continue to work on different projects that can perhaps solve the problems that we're all seeing it, but we don't have the time to work on. So we had the time, we had the support from all of the different county departments, IT, finance, purchasing, everyone helped us to make sure that we got this project deployed, and now it's award-winning. So thank you, everyone.
Congratulations. Mr. Green.
Congratulations, Rosangela, and to the election spirit. Can you do us all a favor in the community out there and tell us when early voting starts? Because that might be between now and our next meeting, and let's get it out there.
Yes, so early voting will start at the clerk's office on October 8th, and I hear there's going to be some gathering at the plaza, and everyone's going to walk together to the polling site. So we're already preparing our poll judges to make sure that we're ready to go. We are also going to be working with our staff at the kiosk and then our vendor to make sure our setup is as best as possible, because we will expect 16,000 people coming through the clerk's office. So we're working on parking, we're working on everything possible. However, expanded early voting does start October 19th, and that's at the usual expanded early voting sites like the Fairgrounds, Christian Life Church, Nancy Rodriguez Community Center. So in Santa Fe, our clerk wants to make sure that we vote as early as possible, because election day is last minute voting and no one wants to wait till last minute. So vote as early as you can at all our sites, and everything's available on santafe.vote. Polling sites, also ballot drop-off locations, and important deadlines. Ballots will also go out, absentee ballots will also go out October 8th.
Thank you very much.
Any other questions? Well, congratulations. Oh, Commissioner Bustamante, congratulations
I
again.
just wanted to say congratulations and good job. Thank you.
All right. Moving on to approval of August 27th, 2024 Board of County Commissioners meeting minutes. Any changes or comments from the board?
No, Mr. Chair, move to approve the minutes.
Second?
Motion by Commissioner Hamilton, seconded by Commissioner Bustamante. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, no opposed. The minutes are approved. There are no proclamations or commissioner resolutions today, so we move on to the consent agenda. Does anyone want to remove any items from the consent agenda? Mr. Green?
I would like to respectfully remove items B, D, and E.
B, D, and E. Mr. Hanson? Okay. B, D, and E leaves A and C, right?
I'll make a motion to approve on the consent agenda item A and item C.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay. That was a motion by Commissioner Hanson, seconded by Commissioner Green. And we need a resolution numbers for A and C.
Mr. Chair, item 4A is 2024121, and 4C is 2024122.
Thank you. And now we will go to B, resolution budget and increase in the capital outlay GRT fund in the amount of $10,411,553.
Good afternoon, Chair, Commissioners. My name is Gabriela Trujillo, and I'm with the Santa Fe County Finance Department. And we are presenting the projects that were approved in the final budget, but didn't make it onto the FY25 budgeting system. And we're asking for your approval to budget the projects that we had spoke about, which are the Arroyo Hondo Trail in the amount of $1,100,000, Turquoise Trail Bulkwater, $1 million, Santa Fe River Greenway, $6 million, Santa Fe Rail Trail, $1,774,021, Los Pinos Road, $252,537, Northeast Southeast Connector, $199,995, and Public Works Lift Station, $85,000. So the FY25 capital budget was presented to the Board of County Commissioners at its regular meeting on June 24th, 2024. At a special meeting on June 28th, 2024, the presentations included all existing capital projects and their funding needs, as well as a list of new proposed projects. The proposed FY25 budget included $11,126,553 for funding gaps, Exhibit B, and $11,444,260 for new projects, Exhibit C. The board approved the final budget via the adoption of Resolution Number 2024-091, inclusive of capital projects in the amount of $161,292,834. In preparing the FY25 final budget, the following 7 projects were inadvertently not included, although approved by the board. Gap funding projects, as I listed earlier, as I mentioned earlier, and the new project for the Public Works Lift Station. The budget error was an unfortunate result of the workarounds and manual processes in place due to the limitations and underutilization of the current accounting system. The Finance Division believes that errors such as these will be mitigated in the future with the use of the budgeting software ClearGov and the new Enterprise Resource Planning System, which the county is prioritizing to create processes, efficiencies with necessary third-party interface to eliminate the manual processes and workarounds creating patchwork results and errors like the ones above. So Finance Division requests approval of the resolution to add the approved project budgets to the Capital GRT Fund 313. And with that, I stand for any questions.
Any questions? Commissioner Green.
Thank you very much. Thanks for explaining all of this. What were the limitations that were software-based, and what were the ones that were underutilization-based? Like, how do you explain underutilization? Was it a lack of training? Was it how did things fall through the gaps? Nope.
So as the budget process goes through, there's multiple like approvals and multiple people that are looking at things. And so as when it comes time to enter things into the system, they're usually in other spreadsheets. And so moving them from one to another, things get transposed or things just get forgotten. And unfortunately, that's what happened.
Is there any consequence of this late addition to this, or is this all sort of part of an accepted process by DFA or whoever this goes to?
As long as we put this forth in a resolution and send it to DFA, there's no consequences, as long as you guys approve it again.
Great, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
With
Any
that,
other questions?
Nope. I will make a motion to approve a resolution to budget an increase of the capital outlay GRT Fund 313 in the amount of $10,411,553.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Green, seconded by Commissioner Hanson. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, it passes, and we need a resolution number.
Mr. Chair, that resolution number is 2024123.
Okay, now item 4D, request acceptance of grant received from the New Mexico Department of Finance Administration from the Firefighter Recruitment Fund in the amount of $787,000.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair, Commissioners. The Fire Department is before you today requesting approval to accept and execute this grant award. At the June 11th meeting, the Fire Department requested your approval to apply for a new grant from the New Mexico DFA for the specific purpose of recruiting and retaining new firefighters. At that time, we requested funding to support 6 full-time firefighters. At that time, there was also some variance on what exactly the grant entailed, as this was a new grant from DFA. And with the grant award, we were awarded $787,500 to fund new positions over the next 3 years. $450,000 of that is to be used for this fiscal year. Half of that, $225,000, would be used to support the salaries and benefits in year 2, and the 3rd year would be half of that, with $112,000 to go to support salaries and benefits. And with that, we are here seeking your approval to accept and execute this grant award.
Thank you. Any questions? Mr. Green.
Thank you, Chief Black. Did we have an analysis that said that we needed these 6 positions? Were we sort of underfunded and recognized that we needed 6 new positions?
So, Mr. Chair, Commissioner Green, this was applied for in concert with what we had submitted with our previous budget request. We have done an analysis that regarding our staffing, and in order to keep our fire stations open, that we were requesting additional positions. And so this is in alignment with our previous analysis and our previous budget requests. And our intent was to apply for this funding to help offset those future budget requests and needs.
Thank you. And then in terms of, we get a year and a half worth of grant funding to get these people onboarded, and then the remainder of their careers are out of our own pocket?
Mr. Chair, Commissioner Green, yes. So this funding is distributed and to be used over 3 fiscal years. And then the expectation is that the county picks up the remainder of the salaries and benefits and carries those positions on into future years.
Are there any obligations to keep our staffing level at the new adjusted staffing level?
So, Mr. Chair, Commissioner Green, the obligation is that we would be maintaining our current staffing levels with the additional positions.
With the additional. So if for whatever reason we are understaffed or whatever, we lose our staffing. Let's say we have the vacancies, but we can't fill them. Are we penalized? Is there any clawback or any risk that we might have if we're unable to maintain this these positions or the staffing level?
Mr. Chair, Commissioner Green, at this time we have not identified any of those penalties of that nature. The State Fire Marshal's Office and the DFA does understand that staffing fire departments is a critical issue across the state, and that it's very difficult for fire departments to maintain full levels of staffing. And this is what that grant is intended for. And so as we've worked with the State Fire Marshal's Office, there is an understanding that staffing does ebb and flow, and they do also understand that once we onboard a firefighter, it takes a good 6 months to train them up, and then it takes a while for them to really be operating independently. And so there is an understanding as we have a good working relationship with the State Fire Marshal's Office.
Wonderful. What is our current vacancy rate over in the fire department?
So, Mr. Chair, Commissioners, good news. We actually started a cadet academy last week, and we have been able to fill all of our cadet vacancies. So as our firefighting vacancies, once this cadet class graduates, if everybody graduates successfully, then we will be at full capacity.
Great job. Thank you. I'm glad I had a good, easy question with a good, solid answer there for you. So thank you very much.
Well, any other questions? Commissioner Hanson.
Yeah, I just want to say thank you. I'm really happy that we received this grant, and I know my constituents in Las Campanas in the La Tierra area will also be happy to have the fire station fully staffed. Thank you.
Mr. Chair,
Go ahead.
I will make a motion to request acceptance of the grant number 24-ZI5036-51, received from the New Mexico Department of Finance and Administration for the Firefighter Recruitment Fund in the amount of $787,500, and 2, delegating the signature authority to the county manager to execute the grant agreement.
Second.
All right, motion by Commissioner Green, seconded by Commissioner Hamilton. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Okay, passed unanimously. And we move on to item E. Request approval of restated and extended memorandum of agreement between Santa Fe County and City of Santa Fe regarding Santa Fe Regional Film Office.
Mr. Chair, Commissioners, Paul Olafson with Community Development Department. This item is a request to move the office, the physical office, and the, I guess, administrative management of the office from the county to the city. And it also envisions consideration of increased funding in future fiscal years. And with that, I would stand for any questions.
Any questions? Mr. Green.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Paul. Thank you, Jen. Little melancholy with this. So I guess, you know, the genesis of this is the most fundamental question is let me preface this. This is one of the best things that we do at the county, and we're giving it up. And in a world where sometimes we have some concerns about city management, you know, mentioned by myself potentially in the past, and some of the other commissioners here. Why are we doing this? You know, what is the real goal of this, other than, was there a threat from the city? Was there other real fundamental reason to do this? What do we get out of this? Why are we doing this, and what do we get out of this?
Mr. Chair, Commissioner, I believe the office is a joint office, and the difference between having it housed at the county versus the city is mostly ministerial or managerial, right? It's the office will still function as it does now. It will still service the entire region, both the city and the county, and it will continue to develop and excel, as Jennifer has been a fantastic leader for it, and hopefully continue to support the film industry for the region.
Does Jennifer have to reapply at the city? I mean, is there a risk to her, or is there a guarantee that she gets the job?
Mr. Chair, Commissioner Green, the memorandum of agreement provides for the transfer of existing personnel along with accumulated leave. So no, that is not a risk.
Thank you. And in terms of accumulated leave, is Ms. Labartapia has been with us for a very long time, and she earns things based on seniority of maybe 20 plus years here at the county. Is she going to be entering the city with the same leave and benefits that we have? I'm not asking about the money, because that's one of the aspects. That's a relatively easy aspect, but the other things are the leave aspects and seniority and all the things that she's earned here, and she would be starting from day one at the city.
Mr. Chair, Commissioner Green, the agreement provides that the city shall recognize and accrue on its books all of the director's accumulated leave, and thereafter she would be governed by city's policies. So that's how we propose to address that particular issue relative to leave balances and the like. I hope that answers the question.
Sort of.
And I can't speak to their benefits package vis-a-vis the counties. That I wouldn't be able to address.
That would be something that I would want to protect Ms. Labartapia. If we are going to give this up, we should be, you know, in this sort of joint partnership, we should be protecting her on all dimensions, not just sort of allowing them to pay her more. But I would hope that we were going to give her all the benefits that she had accrued here and make sure that the city was able to uphold that level that she had earned here. She's been an exemplary employee. Okay, anyway, that's, I don't know the answer to that. Maybe Jen can answer that if she feels confident with that, but that's great. How does this impact all of the initiatives that we're talking about outside of the city? The city seems to best of my knowledge, only have one film facility, and the county has more than a half dozen. I think I've heard probably 7, 8, 9. How does that focus, does it change, or is there any risk to our success in that space?
So, Mr. Chair, Commissioner Green, Jen Labar Tapia, Director of the Santa Fe Film Office. So, in terms of resources between the city and the county, in the city there are actually 5 sound stages with the old Schollenberger Center, now Aspect Studios, and then we also have Garson Studios over at the Midtown campus, and that whole campus is also used as a backlot currently. In terms of resources in the county, we do have 7 Western sets, and we also have the stages over at Santa Fe Studios, and we have the studios up at Camel Rock and Tesuque. And it just depends on any given year how much film production is done in the city limits or in the county. This past 6 months, it was pretty equal. We had Dark Winds filming up at Camel Rock for a good 5 to 7 months, and then we also had The Lost Bus, which is a huge Apple production that was here for 8 months over at Midtown. So it was pretty equal this first 2 quarters of the year. And it just really depends on the year. Sometimes when Westerns are really hot, then all of our Western sets are getting booked up, or the zombie movies or anything like that. So it just kind of depends on what the trends are of the industry, depends on where it's going to go, whether it be city or county.
Okay. We have to have a liaison now. So currently we don't have a liaison. You, because you're our staff member on our team, serve as that liaison, but now we would have to have a liaison. Do we have that person designated? Is that going to be a position that needs to be hired into? What is what is the consequence? Does that suddenly, trade apples for apples, that suddenly that is the difference in your pay that the city's now paying, that we're now going to have to pay somebody to fill that role, but now you're over there?
So, Mr. Chair, Commissioner Green, in terms of the liaison, really what that has always been from day one is just having a representative both on the city side and the county side. They're already current employees of either city or county, so how it's always been falling under the Community Development Department, I was here, and having a liaison over at the city would be my point of contact at who I'd really talk to at the city. And usually it was someone like Rich Brown, who's now retired, who's the equivalent to Paul Olveson of the Community Development Department. So whatever that looks like internally on the county side, it would either remain to be Paul, because I would still work closely with this department because it is tourism, it is economic development. It's pretty lateral in the 2 different departments, but Paul Olveson would probably be my point of contact on the county side, just to keep him in the loop with everything. That's how it's been done in the previous years. I would just keep the city in the loop with everything that was going on, and that would be through Rich Brown's shop.
Okay, and so at this point, you're expecting it to be Paul will be your county contact here?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, or whoever, right? You can designate somebody if whatever works out there, I guess. So that capacity is not an issue. Paul, you already work 250 hours a week. You can do a few more hours, so that's wonderful. Okay, and then there is a promise at the city to hire you a deputy, I hope?
Yes, Mr. Chair, Commissioner Green, there is, HR is already working on getting that job posted this next week.
That is amazing, because we did not do that level of support, and I'm happy to see them doing that. Okay. I hope that they provide you with not only the accrued and earned time off, but also that you don't go back to new employee status that suddenly makes you only earn whatever the new employee is versus somebody with 20 years of experience and tenure at the county. I hope you're happy with this. I hope this does you well. We're very sad to see you go.
She's not going very far.
I'm literally going about 500 feet away from my current office.
Yeah, but haven't you seen their offices over there? You have a much nicer office here.
I know.
That's right.
I do have a nice office.
So, well, we'll visit you. Come invite us over. We'll still visit you over there. We're going to miss you nonetheless. And if there's anything we can do here to help the initiatives, the film initiatives in the county, please reach out anytime, please.
Mr. Chair, Commissioner Green, thank you. Thank you for all the support over the years. And nothing will change in terms of our communication with the commissioners and with county management and also with county staff that I have to deal with on a regular basis with film permitting and those kinds of things. So I'll still be very much around.
I hope we can work on some support for Native American film in the North. So thank you.
Okay, other questions?
Mr. Chair?
Well, Commissioner Hanson first, and then Commissioner Bustamante, I think.
I just really want to thank you, Jen, for everything at the county. You were like my first liaison or my first contact when I started here 8 years ago. And so I will, not that I see you all the time since you've been over at Catron, but I'm grateful to have worked with you for these past 8 years. And I know that you will continue to take good care of the county. I'm not worried about that at all. I believe that this is a good model for city-county government, and we need more models like this. And so I appreciate you being the lead, that you could move back and forth. Just because you're going to the city now doesn't mean that in the future this office won't end up back over here also. One never knows what can happen. So I just want to say that I'll miss you, and I'll still come and visit you, and when I'm no longer a commissioner, I'll still come and visit you over at the city. So thank you for everything.
Thank you.
And good luck. But
Thank you.
I know you're not going far, so I look forward to seeing you around the block.
All right, Commissioner Bustamante.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And Jennifer, you have an office that's very amenable and welcoming, and you're able to. Are you going to have similar resources with the city? Do you have a welcoming, inviting, appropriate area, or will you be getting what kind of support are you getting from the city that you've had provided by the county?
Mr. Chair, Commissioner Bustamante, so that was one of the requests to please not be put me in a broom closet, and they are not putting me in a broom closet, so that was nice. I actually will be over at the Convention Center, which is one of their newest builds over there, so I will be in the Convention Center for the immediate future for right now, and then I know that they're in the works of moving some departments back over to, I believe, the rail yard area, and it's going to free up some space over at City Hall, and it sounds like they're going to be remodeling a lot of that area, and I might be maybe moved over there. But in terms of the immediate, yes, it's welcoming because it will be at the Convention Center. There is somebody that handles the front for any staff in the back of the center. So, and there's a little conference area in the table in the office that I'll be provided for now.
Mr. Chair.
Yeah, Commissioner Hanson.
Yeah, I would like to request approval of a memorandum of understanding between Santa Fe County and the Office of the, am I reading the right one? Okay, and the Office of the Secretary of State for the, I'm reading E. Am I on the wrong? Oh, I'm okay, I was at 6E, I'm sorry.
Oh.
Request approval and Wednesday's expanded memorandum of agreement between Santa Fe County and the City of Santa Fe regarding the Santa Fe Regional Film Office.
Okay,
Second.
motion by Commissioner Hanson, seconded by Commissioner Hamilton. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, passes unanimously. Thank you.
Thank you.
And now we move on to 6A, resolution declaring the intent of Santa Fe County subject to satisfaction of certain conditions to consider the adoption and an ordinance authorizing issuance of multifamily housing revenue obligation bonds in the principal amount of $70 million. Paul.
Good afternoon, Paul Olofsson with Community Development Department. With me today, along with county staff, is Peter Franklin, the county's bond counsel, and Ron Mell, who's a senior vice president with Dominion, which is the developer applicant. So before you today is a request to adopt an inducement resolution, which would allow for pass-through funding for a new multifamily housing project that would be located at 4608 Highway 14. It's basically the property directly across from Rancho Viejo Boulevard when it intersects with Highway 14. The request is for up to $70 million in multifamily housing revenue obligation financing to acquire, design, construct, and equip a 312-unit multifamily affordable housing complex located where I just said 4608 Highway 14. And the project will be approximately 16 or 17.6 acres on a total 26.46 acre site. And it will have approximately 13 buildings to house the 312 units. About 46.5% of the total site will be reserved for open space. It will serve residents with incomes at or below 60% of the AMI, area medium income. And unit mix will consist of 2, 3, and 4 bedroom units with 2 bathrooms. It will feature a clubhouse, ramadas, a tot lot, solar carports, and a community lawn with picnic/grilling areas. The applicant, Dominion, has approximately 38,000 units across over 22 states in operation now. And the preliminary site plan is also attached with this memo. Pursuant to Ordinance 1998-1, the county manager has appointed a project review team that included Deputy County Manager Cordova, County Attorney Young, Assistant County Attorney Persino, Growth Management Department designee Jordan Yetzi, Finance Department designee Rob Korabi, Economic Development Manager Juan Torres, along with advisory members from the Community Development Department, Public Works Department, the Growth Management Department, and the Affordable Housing Division. This memo is quite detailed, and it will summarize the review team findings. I'll try and go through it relatively quickly, but we'll stand for questions obviously at the end. If the transaction is for the inducement resolution is ultimately consummated, the county will issue multifamily housing revenue bonds for the benefit of the project. This is conduit financing and is not an obligation of the county, and no county revenues will be pledged to repay the debt. In order for the revenue bonds to be tax advantaged, the State Board of Finance will have to allocate a portion of the multifamily tax advantage volume cap to the bonds. The county will own the project and lease it to the applicant, which will make the project exempt from property tax. The property tax abatement is a significant factor to help the project pencil out and be successful. The potential loss of property tax over the first 10 years of the project is about $31,000, and that will be offset by an increase in gross receipts tax expected to be approximately $321,620 over the construction period alone of the project. And the total project will be approximately $130 million. So with that, I'm going to kind of run through the review team comments and analysis and then stand for questions. So under project use and design, under land use criteria, the project as presented to date conforms with both the SLDC and the SGMP. The applicant has obtained 2 variances, one for height and one for the number of units per building. And the applicant has met the affordable housing requirements of the SLDC. The applicant and the owner of the adjacent parcel will need to enter into some sort of agreement whereby that they can develop an access road. It's basically a frontage road to Highway 14 that will cross both properties and be accessible from either side. One at the intersection of Highway 14 and Rancho Viejo Boulevard, and another entrance at the, there's a planned roundabout on the other project. I did mention it meets both the SLDC and SGMP goals for affordable housing. Under water use, the project calls for 77.76 acre feet per year for the 312 units, and there is a utility line extension and development agreement with the county already in place. Under environmental impacts, it is not anticipated the project will have a negative environmental impact, and additionally all energy standards for multifamily projects as outlined in the SLDC will be followed. A home energy rating system or HERS rating of 60 or lower for the project, planned photovoltaic solar systems on most of the carports, use of efficient ion water meters, and planned 16 electric vehicle charging stations. Under infrastructure criteria, the county's final plat approval requires the applicant to enter into a subdivision improvement agreement, and all appropriate infrastructure, both on and off site, must be completed by the applicant. And that includes utility line extension for water, sewer, and electric, the improvements for the intersection at Highway 14 and Avenida Rancho Viejo, and an on-site multi-use trail that will connect with the adjacent property as well as the county's trail network. And then the interior road, there's basically the frontage road I mentioned earlier. Under design criteria, the project is consistent with both the zoning for the property and the SGMP, with the exception of the access issues and the 2 variances. Demolition, there is no proposed demolition. This is a vacant parcel. Relocation, there will be no relocation. It's a vacant parcel. Under economic benefits, the competition criteria, the proposed development is not anticipated to lead to increased competition with other like apartments in the area because the greater Santa Fe area is in an affordable housing crisis and a true shortage. And it will be, as I mentioned again, 100% low income. Under job criteria, the applicant has committed to doing their best to hire as much locally for both the construction and ongoing management of the property. Additionally, the ongoing management of the property, once the construction is completed, will include 5 new permanent jobs. Santa Fe, impact on Santa Fe County economy. An impact analysis was created by Impact Data Source for this project, and the analysis is attached as attachment D, I believe, to the packet, and it notes that it will be approximately $5,115,780 in present value in fiscal net benefits through job creation and taxes over the first 10 years of the project. Then under criteria commitment to Santa Fe County, the applicant must commit to remaining in the county for the period of the bonds, and that the applicant has made that commitment. Local ownership or input substitution. This criterion is not applicable to goods and services, but the project will provide new, decent, safe, and sanitary apartments to be used as affordable living accommodations for persons of low and moderate income. By increasing the housing inventory in the county and reducing the number of workers who will commute to Santa Fe, the project is anticipated to result in greater spending within the county for meals, groceries, entertainment, etc. On economic incentives criterion, the tax note revenue loss, what I mentioned earlier is approximately $31,000, will be offset by the $321,620 in GRT just for the construction, and then ongoing GRT that may be paid by the residents of the project, as well as the development of commercial properties in the area. will also generate additional GRTs. Under project feasibility, again, the applicant, it proposes to use a 4% LIHTC to help leverage funding, and that's through MFA. They also plan to apply through MFA for the New Mexico Housing Trust Fund for $2 million. And the development is backed by Dominion, which, as I mentioned earlier, has thousands of units online in 22 states. Under cost criterion, the actual cost of the project will be 130. This is an estimate. $130,044,341, which is far exceeds the proposed bonding. Again, the applicant's record successfully, they have constructed several multifamily affordable housing projects in several states, approximately 38,000 units, as I mentioned, across the 22 states. The equity investment, the applicant will utilize the 4% non-compatible low-income housing tax credits to generate equity for the project at approximately $55 million. Under management criteria, Dominion proposes to use their in-house Dominion Management Services. And again, that arm of the entity has experience managing multiple projects over many states. So in conclusion, for next steps, if the board adopts the inducement resolution and subject to other conditions, the developer and owner of the parcel abutting project site entering into an agreement to provide a point of ingress and egress for residents that satisfies the requirements of the SLDC and resolution of any other issues concerning permitting, water availability, or otherwise identified by county staff. The county staff will, 1, publish title and general summary of an ordinance authorizing the issuance of the IRBs, and 2, work with the applicant to develop the ordinance and other documents necessary to implement the IRBs. And then additional steps anticipated for the development include work on an application with the State Board of Finance for an allocation of the volume cap ground lease agreement between the county and the applicant. Project-based vouchers may be considered for the project. A developer assistance may also, from the county to the developer, may also be considered, and land use entitlements will be finalized via the administrative process and growth management. The action recommended by staff is the project review team believes that the project meets the criteria of ordinance number 1998-01, subject to 1, confirming the feasibility of the project after final terms of the bank loans are known, and 2, preparation of mutually agreeable project documents. Accordingly, the project review team conditionally recommends approval of the inducement resolution and of the project. And I'm sorry that was quite long, but there's a lot to cover. So with that, I would stand for questions. And again, we have our bond counsel here, as well as the project developer representative. And
any questions? Mr. Hanson?
Thank you. So I know this might be premature, but how many stories is these buildings going to be?
Three stories.
Okay. And how many parks are there going to be?
Mr. Chair and Commissioners, Ron Mell with Dominion Development. Thank you for having me today. There's a number of green space open areas within the development. We have one large park behind our community center where we'll have tot lots for various ages. So it's kind of a variety of different areas throughout the property. I would say about 3 large areas that will allow our residents to play with their kids, or kids to play with each other, and outdoor space and recreation.
But all within
the development.
And then outside the development, you'll build a trail and will there be any other amenities outside the building?
Well, we'll be connecting to the trail, and then we'll be paying any park dedication fees that we're required to pay with the county, like any other development.
Uh-huh. And will we see this project again? I mean, once we approve this, then everything's going to be done administratively, and the commission will not see this again. Is that what I understand?
Mr. Chair, Commissioner, yes, that's correct.
Okay. So how many solar carports are you going to have?
We've got a lot of carports. We're working with a solar consultant to determine the best locations for those. So I'd say it's about 80% of those solar carports have solar generating capacity on them.
Okay.
I think it's about 70 stalls that'll have 70 or 80 stalls that'll have that capacity on them.
70 or 80 stalls, and you have 300 and,
312 homes.
okay. And what is this building going to look like?
A great question. We are getting ready to break ground on another development in Rio Rancho. We're using similar architecture. It's territorial architecture, so it'll fit within the vernacular of the community. The colors, it'll have vigas, and our architect is familiar with this type of.
It'll be brown.
It will be brown.
That makes me happy.
Okay, great.
I mean, because the white and gray buildings across the road are incredibly ugly. So I hope this will be a better viewscape, because I think this is a much better use of this piece of land than a truck stop, which was originally tried to be there. So I think this is a more beneficial use to the community, but I want to make sure that the residents will have, amenities, so to speak, like there will be a community room.
Absolutely. We'll have an exercise facility. We'll have, again, lots of outdoor spaces. Our professional management team will be there within that community space. We're talking about we will be doing a bus stop for pickups and drop-offs, as well as in proximity to our management office for security reasons, and the mail kiosks will all be right there as well. So.
Okay, I'll let somebody else ask some questions, but I'll yield. I'm not giving up my.
Okay, Commissioner Green.
Thank you very much. So you mentioned a bus stop. Is this serviced by the city or the Blue Bus?
We'll be working with the school district on, how, if they, where that'll be. Typically, we like to do it within the community. Sometimes school districts don't like coming into the community or into the development itself. So that may be something that's on the edge of on our property, but outside the gates that kind of go into it.
Okay, more specifically, not for schools, but for the general public. We have two systems. We've got a city bus system that does extend out to the county in some unique cases, like the community college district, which this is a part of. And have you worked with them to develop a route that would allow, this is kind of workforce housing, affordable housing, but workforce housing, to get this able to access jobs and get into, or education or other things?
Sure, that's a great question. We have not worked with the community college as of yet. We certainly will and intend to.
Or the city bus system.
In the city, and
Blue
we'll
Bus does
we'll
go
commit to
down
doing this
there.
one.
Does go down Highway 14?
Yeah, the Blue Bus
Is
goes.
it like once a day, or it's like a regular route? So, it's just got to be convenient for people. Yeah.
Certainly.
It's more than once a day, but
Okay.
I think they're working that out still.
Okay. I would recommend working, maybe this is something that we need to work on, because we've just approved hundreds of homes down this route that are going to probably need some public transit and having some connection to your facility there.
Mr. Chair and Commissioner Green, I would note that the property is along an existing on-demand City of Santa Fe Trails bus route that I believe goes from the Santa Fe Place Mall down New Mexico 14 onto Rancho Viejo Boulevard into Rancho Viejo proper and IAIA. It currently is on demand, so the route already exists. And so, yes, we will certainly encourage and work with the developer to see if this increased housing density warrants that being continuous service rather than on demand.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. That's great to hear. And then you mentioned that there will be fitness facilities, indoor and outdoor.
Yes.
So indoor, there will be a workout room of some capacity.
Very typical, standard community room amenity for Dominium where we have free weights, machines, cardiovascular,
Great.
all that
great.
sort of
I
thing.
mean, we should cut down on those trips to have to go to the gym and things like that and let people come home and sort of do that. So that's wonderful. How about a dog park? Is any of those outdoor spaces going to be fenced for dogs?
We are not fencing any specific area for dog park, but we will have waste stations throughout the property, and we are a dog-friendly developer, and this will be a dog-friendly community or
Okay.
pet-friendly community.
Okay. And I'm looking at the site plan. I do not necessarily see specific trails delineated on this. Are all the trails outside of your development, or there's some within the development so families could safely within the development, do laps or whatever?
Yeah, we have quite a few sidewalks and walking areas within the development for people to gather and as well as walk throughout our development itself, and they will connect up to the regional trails.
Okay. Just as my design background says that sidewalks are not trails, and especially sidewalks with hard corners are not meant for kids on bikes and for people to bike. It's not really trails. It's really just access to apartments, and I see them literally with bumpers of cars overlapping the sidewalk, so I don't know that I would consider them trails.
Okay.
So I would hope you could incorporate a good lap around the property so the folks could, walk the kid in a stroller around, walk the dog around the outside. Even if you don't have a dog park, you at least have a community
system.
internal system in there that would make it a little better there. And then is the community room, is there an ability to add a room for sort of childcare facilities? So we have a ton of money for pre-K in the state of New Mexico, and yet one of the problems is that we don't have the facilities. And when you have 300 some homes that are all 2 bedrooms and up, you're basically looking at families. And it would be great to have at least a pre-K room that can double on the weekends for family, for events and things like that. But to be able to have a way for, should the need arise, and with 300 families in there, the need will arise to have a little pre-K spot for families to drop their kids off. These are working families. They need a place to sort of drop off their kids at 2 p.m. until they get home at 5 o'clock. And I'm wondering if that's something that can be incorporated into this.
That is not something that we have experience in as far as managing pre-K work and
Not managing it, but just providing space.
Yeah, we do have room for that within our community building that people could use for that space. We can certainly look into that.
Please do, because there are some specifications, design specifications, certain types of bathrooms, certain types of kitchenettes, certain types of, design standards that are for child care facilities. And so to elevate that design to make sure that, this can be a one-stop shop for families that can't afford to, don't have transportation. The kids go to school on the bus, but then they get dropped off at noon or whatever time they get out of school, and that they know that there's a safe place for the kids to go, and the apartment isn't necessarily the place. And
yeah, we'll work with our architect, who I'm sure has experience in that. And
that would be wonderful. Yeah, whatever amenities you can put on site would be great. Once you're at 300 homes, you're at critical mass, and our inducement should also include your offer of amenities to pass on that inducement to the community you're serving, that we're both serving.
Understood.
Thank you.
Mr. Hanson?
Oh, yeah, thank you. So I'm just going to harp a little bit further on the child care issue, because it is an incredibly serious problem here in northern New Mexico, the lack of good childcare, and there's a few hoops that people have to go through to become licensed childcare providers, but coming up with a space and a place inside this development would be really of extreme benefit, not only to the residents, but to you as a management company, noticing and becoming aware of the problems that we have. I mean, one of the greatest things that happened during the pandemic was the child care tax credit, you know, that really helped working families lift themselves out of poverty. And even though this is affordable housing or workforce housing, you know, this is another important part of helping lift people out of poverty and making sure that their children are protected and safe. So I will just pile on that idea because I think it's really important. But and the more amenities that you offer, the better. I mean, it concerns me. I'm not going to see this again, or the commission is not going to see this again, but that means I have to trust my land use administrator and make sure that she's paying attention to the things that we are saying here from the dais, and that she hears that, and that she is able to incorporate that into this project. Because if we are really unhappy when this gets built and it doesn't look like anything that we look like, she's going to be the one we're going to have to go to, and you also. So I'm just saying those things ahead of time.
And I have a couple questions too.
Okay, I'll stop for now.
Do you want to go first? Mr. Bustamante, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I am as well concerned that we won't be seeing it again. I know the controversy of what was planned there before. At the risk of making assumptions, I'm going to go ahead and assume that all the posting and any public comment, everything has been there to get full community review in an effective way that allowed for people to see. I mean, since we don't or we can't see what those buildings are going to look like, and if community members, again, I don't want to wake up one of these days and when people call me and say, what are those big buildings looking like? You know, what is that going on there? I'm going to make the assumption the community members have seen these drafts and some modeling of what these buildings would look like, and there won't be big controversy over the next big development at that location?
Your assumptions are correct. We have had neighborhood meetings and shared all of the development plans, elevations, renderings, and those sorts of things with community development as well as the neighborhood, and posted and done all the required things for
I appreciate
site plan
that. I
approval.
wish we could have seen the same renderings. It would have been helpful.
I'm more than happy to send them around to the group. I'm happy to do that.
I'd be happy to see them.
Great.
Thank you.
We'll commit to doing that. We're very proud of them, actually.
I have two questions. One is, how far of a walk is it to the rail station? Isn't the rail station also an accessible transportation into town?
I'm not sure the exact distance. I do know that our trail has been requested by the county to connect to that, which we will be doing. But I'm not sure the exact distance, but it is a walk. I mean, it's not a drive.
Yeah, walk to this trail station, because that has a fair number of runs into town, so that's pretty handy for
Right.
someone who works in town.
Yeah, it's a nice amenity.
And also, what percentage of income are you using for affordable housing? Are you making them all available to 60% affordable, or are you doing a differentiation?
This will be 100%, 60% AMI. Now, we don't discriminate on income, so we accept Section 8 vouchers and all those things that go along.
So vouchers will be accepted? Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And it's all 60%, not 80, 60, 40?
No, this is not an income averaging deal. This is a straight 60% AMI development.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, to answer your question, it is about a mile of a walk to the train station.
It's what?
About a mile.
Mile, okay. Well, that's a nice walk in the morning.
It's a good walk.
For some people. Any other questions? Since it's in my district, I'll make the motion that we pass a resolution declaring the intent of Santa Fe County subject to the satisfaction of certain conditions to consider for adoption an ordinance authorizing the issuance of multifamily housing revenue obligations in issue in principal amount not to exceed $70 million, et cetera.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Hughes, seconded by Commissioner Bustamante. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, it passed.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Yes.
Thank you.
And now we're skipping 6B, so 6C, approval of a multiple source professional service agreement to provide temporary nursing services.
Mr. Chair, that previous item had a resolution number.
Indeed. Go
Okay,
ahead.
6A is 2024124.
Thank you. Go ahead, Bill Taylor.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, Commissioners. It's a pleasure to be here. Bill Taylor, Purchasing Division for the county. We're here before the board to ask approval of multiple award contracts with various temporary nursing firms. Purchasing issued an RFP, request for proposal. We received six proposals that were evaluated by the committee. They felt were acceptable, responsive proposals and wish to enter into contracts with each. This is to meet a critical shortage in nursing staff requirements for a correctional facility such as ours and nationwide, as we've all heard about. And this has been subject of a great need for the adult detention facility to fill those positions that are vacant for nursing practitioners and the such. They have a variety of registered nurse, licensed practical nurses, and nurse practitioners on their gambit of temporary nursing services. With that, I'll stand for any questions.
Any questions? Mr. Green.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Bill. How many people typically utilize this in our system at the jail?
It is for the adult detention facility medical services.
This is a generalized population, or it's nursing services for seniors? And
I can answer that. I'm Ashley Hennon, the Health Services Administrator for Santa Fe County. I appreciate you guys having me here today. So, Commissioner Green, we are the adult correctional facility, so for the adult jail. And so these nursing services are for our healthcare population. So we're serving all of our incarcerated population here in the county.
Okay, it wasn't made clear to me. I thought it was for nursing homes, sort of like adult senior care.
No,
But it's for anybody. Okay. Okay, that solves all the other questions. Thank you.
Okay. Anyone else?
I'll motion to approve.
Commissioner Bustamante moves to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Bustamante, seconded by Commissioner Hamilton. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Now, D is a resolution delegating authority to the county manager to sign all documents necessary to execute new lease to replace lease agreement with La Familia Medical Center. And go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair, Commissioners. I am your new real property supervisor with Public Works, Michelle Caskey. So happy to meet you all and be here today. So I am here regarding the county medical and dental facility on Caja de Oro Grant Road that the county built in 1999 to house La Familia Medical Clinic. So the clinic has been actively operating there for 25 years under a lease agreement where La Familia pays us $1 a year in exchange for continuing to operate a medical and dental facility there serving low-income and uninsured residents of Santa Fe County. And they have done that. And their lease expires at the end of this year. And per the original agreement, La Familia did give us notice that they have exercised their option to renew the lease for another 25 years under the same terms. And during this last period of time, this 25-year period of time, the statutes have changed. So there is now a requirement that a 25-year lease go in front of the Board of Finance. And because the Board of Finance didn't approve the original lease, they won't approve a renewal. So we are executing a new lease, or asking for your permission for us to execute a new lease with La Familia that would be respectful of the same terms of the original lease, but also respectful of the new statute, which will require some different wording and reporting to the Board of Finance. And so that's why we're here, because we can't issue them a renewal. We need to make a new lease. And so we're asking for your approval to let the county manager sign such a lease.
Okay, any questions? Mr. Hanson.
Yeah, so I fully support, this is my district, District 2, and I fully support the work that La Familia has done for the past 25 years. It has been a great benefit to our community. And I'm happy that we're creating a brand new lease, because 25 years ago, things were very different. So, and welcome to the county.
Thank
and
you.
I look forward to working with you on a couple other things in the next couple of months. But I just wanted to say that I'm in support of this, and I'll wait to see if there's any other questions before I make a motion.
Any other questions? Commissioner Green.
Thank you very much. Thank you. I too really appreciate what La Familia does, and I'm honored to have La Familia, one of your other centers in my district, even though it's in the city. So this is wonderful. Question I have is when we track, you're providing services in lieu of lease. So how does that track? And then is that a gap? Like if somebody is covered by Medicaid or Medicare, is it the gap in between that you're providing the services, or are you providing the services on the whole amount and then potentially getting reimbursed for part of it through Medicaid and Medicare?
In thank you, Mr. Chair, Commissioner Green. With the new lease, the La Familia will be reporting to us quarterly about the amount of in-kind services that they provide. And so that could be where they have not been reimbursed, or that there is a shortfall in insurance, or these types of things. And so they already provide us a report annually, and now we'll be asking for it quarterly. We will also be having a market rate appraisal done, so we know kind of what the benchmark is for the value of services that they are providing. We'll have a dollar amount of benchmark services for them to meet.
And the compensation that we generalize, the county earns on this, is based on that gap. If they're insured through some social program, if Medicaid pays 75%, and do we, quote unquote, earn the 25%, or are we being charged earning that 100%, and that you guys get the cash?
If I could, I'm sorry to interject, Mr. Chair, Commissioner Green. Typically, I believe what we've included in our own leases and what model language from the Board of Finance and from the Department of Finance and Administration require is that you back out any other payments you receive. You can't get paid multiple times from various sources. So I think that was your question. And
Absolutely.
The short answer
Thank you
is
for
no, they can't charge Medicaid and then turn around and say, we want you to pay. Credit us full freight, basically, for our rental obligation.
Thank you for clarifying that, Greg and County Manager. That is basically my main question. I think I have one more question. Is this location serviced by any of the bus systems or any transportation systems here, either Blue Bus or City Bus?
The Agua Fria, which is less than 500 yards, the bus goes along the road, Agua Fria. whether it goes across Caja del Rio or Caja del Oro Grant Road. I'm not sure, but La Familia is close enough to Agua Fria to walk.
Okay, for people who are healthy.
Yeah, right, I mean.
Yeah, okay, great.
Possibly there's also on demand from the Blue Bus, also with another possibility.
And then,
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
Well, not that location.
and then does the city contribute anything to help with this facility?
Not this facility, but the facility in your district is in the city. And
Is on
I
city
belie-
property.
I believe that is on city land.
And probably has the similar arrangement?
Yes.
right? Yeah, okay, great.
I'm just curious exactly where it is, where this location.
Oh, it's right across, it's right at the edge of Romero Park. So if you're going down Calle del Oro Grant Road and you go past the river and you're heading up to Romero Park, it's on the left.
Oh,
Right
okay.
there.
Right by Nancy Rodriguez.
Well, closer to,
Close to Nancy Rodriguez.
it's in the same complex as the Romero Park area. And it's closer to the river.
Okay.
Our new trail system in the next phase.
I think we're ready for a motion.
Okay. We are on miscellaneous item 1D. I will make a motion to pass a resolution delegating authority to the county manager to sign all documents necessary to execute a new lease to replace lease agreement number 2017-0211-H8S-KE between Santa Fe County and La Familia Medical Center, and to authorize its submission to the New Mexico State Board of Finance for approval.
Second.
We have a motion by Commissioner Hanson, seconded by Commissioner Green. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes unanimously. Thank you. And now we move on to 6E, request approval of a memorandum of understanding between Santa Fe County and the Office of Secretary of State for costs of November 5th, 2024 general election.
Mr. Chair, that previous item had a resolution number.
It did indeed.
So 6D is 2024125.
Very good. And we'll do 6E, and then we'll take a break, and then we'll have public hearing. But go ahead.
Chair, Commissioners, good afternoon again. We're here to ask your approval of this memorandum of $650,000. In addition to that, there are $100,000 that we received in a grant from the Institute of Responsive Government for election costs. Some of these costs reimbursed by the Secretary of State include poll workers, so the election board, absentee board, early and election day, also our election technicians, any election publications, as well as polling place signage and building requirements, postage, tabulator delivery. We rent Penske trucks, and a lot of goes into actually delivering tabulators to polling sites. Any office supplies and other, that is our temporary support staff, and any overtime for county employees is all reimbursed by the Secretary of State. That number, as you see, is $650,000, and this is something that we get reimbursed from the Secretary of State. Any questions?
Are there any questions? A resolution, a motion? Oh, Commissioner Hamilton?
So it reimburses the salaries for all the add-on workers? Does it pay for like core staff as well?
So we get overtime for our staff and any temporary staff that is hired. If you go visit our office now, you'll see a lot of new faces, and there are same-day voter registration agents, We have a backlog of voter registrations and they all assist. And so any overtime, in addition to any temporary staff, full and overtime gets reimbursed.
So for this, you estimated what you have now and what you're going to add, everything between now and November or whatever it is. I forgot what Tuesday's date is. Including extras you think you might need because things are getting busier or, every
Jenny?
time- Yeah.
Jenny's really good at doing all of these analysis.
Hi, so this is an estimate based off the previous election, and we provided all of our documentation to the Secretary of State for our expenses for the primary, and they gave us the same amount, they advanced us the same amount for the general election. Should we spend more than that in expenses that are covered under the MOU, there's a possibility that they would also reimburse us for those. But based off of our budgeting, we estimate it will be $650 in reimbursable costs.
So you did try to anticipate. I mean,
Yes.
I'm wondering, it sounds silly, but numbers of new people registering have increased when, Taylor Swift told everybody to go out and register.
Yes, correct.
So between the time of doing the budget and should you need extra people, is that there in this estimate?
In addition to the anticipated amount that we were going to get reimbursed by the SOS, we also do have a separate budget in the Board of Elections department within the clerk's office for non-reimbursable expenses. So there are some additional things in there, including there was an additional $100,000 approved in advertising this year as part of the FY25 budget. So that's not reimbursable, but those were additional costs that we anticipated for this presidential election. And so, again, we did budget for those. Yeah.
And
That
Chair
answers some of them.
and Commissioners, I want to add that turnout doesn't really raise the money we spend. We basically plan for the same amount, right? So we have one poll judge and clerks and the staff and machines and tabulators at the polling site. So turnout doesn't really increase our funds. It's just the human aspect, like how many people we have to hire to make sure to, be at the polling site. That's the part that increases a little bit with turnout, but not as much as the temporary staff. That will also increase because we're just there's a lot going on, and so for that we have increased some sites, we have decreased in other sites. So we're confident that the $650 will be enough, and if not, we always can ask the Secretary of State to reimburse us for more if we do spend more.
We ready for a motion?
I
just
think
have
if
one
I
more
could,
question.
what I understand the county clerk's office to be saying is that with the $650, with the $100,000 additional grant money, and with the existing allocation in the budget to the Bureau of Elections, they should have all of their election costs covered. If they were to somehow be bumping up against that, then that would be a conversation we'd have to have with the board to prevent them from overspending their budget without the board knowing that they were doing so at the risk of not being reimbursed. If the deputy clerks disagree with my summary, please correct me, but I believe that may have been where you were going.
It is. It's the idea that anticipating things now, because usually when a big office gives, like the Secretary of State approves a budget, it's like there's an expectation of staying within it until you get to extenuating circumstances, which you don't kind of plan for. They should be extenuating. It shouldn't be just built in that way. So that's great. Now that answers my question. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll make the motion. I make a motion to approve a memorandum of understanding between Santa Fe County and the Office of the Secretary of State for costs of the November 5th, 2024 general election.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Green, seconded by Commissioner Hamilton. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, it passes unanimously. And now we will take our 3:30 break and come back to public hearing. I'm sorry, matters of public concern. Okay, I thought Commissioner Hanson was in the room. Is she not? Well, we'll give her a minute. And we'll do 4 minutes for each person. Well, let's go ahead and get started. This is Matters from Public Concern, and the first speaker is Mr. Robertson, Road Safety in District 5. And go ahead, and your interpreter will speak for you, I guess.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Thank you so much for inviting me to be here today. So I am here to discuss about the traffic situation on County Road 44 and County Road 44 East. And so this map shows the road that I'm speaking of here. So it's Shenandoah Trail. And really that's County Road 44. And it turns into North Fork. And that's County Road 44 East. And this road here is New Mexico 14. And there's about 8 miles. It's about 8 miles south of the highway. Are you familiar with this area? I'm hoping that the public is familiar as well. Hello. Hello, everyone. Thank you for coming today. Okay, so I do have several pictures here, and these pictures show several different accidents. And I've lived there for 40 years. I've born here in Santa Fe, by the way, born and raised. And these pictures here show lots of terrible accidents. And I could have easily added another board, but I just wanted to really make my point with several photos here. And the traffic has increased in the past 40 years that I've lived here, of course. You know, before this was a gravel road, a dirt road, and about 10 years ago, everything kind of blew up. And then they put in a pavement, which was quite good. That was very, very nice to have pavement. So I really do thank the county for paving those roads. And I did want to mention that this road is also very narrow. And I've seen people bicycling, which is quite scary when you're driving to try to pass them. Really, I'm shocked that people bike on that road, and people also walk along this road quite often. And I've seen children walking along this road as well. And there is a sign that shows that children are playing along this road. The sign is right there. And so the road stops and turns to gravel right on the other side there. So it does become a dirt road. I do want to show you something else. Well, let's see. Do I still have a little bit of time left? Oh my goodness. There we go. That's nice to have that. Okay, great. Okay, so I'm wondering if there's any questions about what I'm showing here. Do you all have any questions, commissioners?
We're not allowed to ask questions in this forum.
Okay, I do understand. I'm on several boards myself, so I do understand that. Okay. So really, there has been many accidents, and so I am very concerned about all of our neighbors that live in this area. And since I've moved there, there's been quite a few new houses that have been built. There's kids riding on ATVs. I remember one time right here in this area, one kid was decapitated on an ATV in that area. It was horrific. And so lots of folks do speed along this road. And the road does go downhill, and people go quite fast around that curve there. I'm wondering if I just wanted to let you know you can look at all of these photos, and I'm going to flip around this board here, and then I will summarize things. All right, I'm going to let him do it. I'll mess it up. There we go. Perfect. That's right. Yes. Thank you very much. Thank you. So I do want to say thank you to everyone, all of the constituents, staff, and everyone that has helped me today to be able to be here. So thank you so much. I really appreciate it. So in summary, this here will be as a great solution. This is Governor Miles Road. I think you all are familiar with Governor Miles. So this is east of Cerrillos Road. And so when you're driving east on Governor Miles, they have these wide speed humps. I'm not sure why they're called speed bumps. I'm not sure why they're called that. And, you know, they should be called like slowed down bumps. But it does work well with, I think, 25 miles per hour. I've tested it, and you can go over at 25 miles an hour, and it's quite comfortable for people. And I think it's even comfortable for school buses to go over the speed humps. On North Fork, there are school buses that, and also there's trucks, big heavy trucks that go down North Fork as well, and they do speed down that road. And my time is up. Okay, well, this is my solution, would be to add some speed humps along that road there on County Road 44 and County Road 44 East. So thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for your time. I really appreciate it. And have a good afternoon, and thank you for the meeting.
Thank you very much, sir. Okay, next, can we have Tom Kennedy? All right, Mr. Kennedy, go ahead.
Hey, good afternoon. Some of you may recognize my name, but not my face. Back in May, I became a whistleblower on a developer who had violated a number of responsibilities under the developmental permit. And I was told that there was a meeting amongst commissioners, and ultimately land use sent some people out to investigate my allegations. Basically what has happened is that in 2006, it was one of these meetings that there were requirements for the developmental permit that were completely ignored. And it has to do with the water issues as well as the infrastructure issues. My concern is the water issues. The county commissioners at that time required a number of responsibilities on the developer as it relates to filtering water, as well as collateral releases that were dependent upon completion. We ultimately discovered when I became a whistleblower in May that none of these things were done. As I say, land use came out on 2 different occasions and confirmed the fact that there were 5 wells out there. 3 of them were never drilled. They were all released. The well that serves my property was drilled. However, it was a filtration system that was required by the county, which was an RO system, was never installed. About a week ago, I was able to figure out what the filtration system was, and I would suggest we not laugh at this, but it is Chemsorb, which is basically industrial strength kitty litter that is supposed to be filtering radionuclides. There were multiple water samples done by a hydrologist that confirmed radionuclides, which were basically gross alpha, beta alpha uranium that were in the water. There was never a water sample provided to the hydrologist or the county, which was required by the commissioners at that time. I have taken this up with the AG here in New Mexico. When all this was going on, we had agreed to mutual transparency. In other words, I know where all the skeletons are. You guys have a development that you have to either determine has met the requirements, has not met the requirements, needs to meet the requirements, or needs additional financial security. At this time, you have no financial security whatsoever. I was told that no permits were going to be issued until this was resolved. This week, one of the collateral releases that happened in 2007 was trenching for water lines, domestic water lines for 2 miles. That took place. There were no permits issued, and the reason it took place is because he's putting a new road in, and they won't be able to get under that road for the domestic water wells. Again, no permits were issued. He needed a permit for maintaining roads. No permits were issued. I was told that no permits were going to be issued until this was all resolved. I simply have a question that I know you can't answer, and I got 39 seconds. Is there a desire in the county to have mutual transparency, to work together to resolve this? I am the only person that knows where all these skeletons are. We've got 5 wells out there that will be producing toxic water unless somebody decides that they're going to take this responsibility and hold him accountable. I have 18 seconds to spare.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for your time.
And then, is there anyone else in the room who wishes to make public comment? No, so we'll go to online, and our first person is Sid Monroe.
Mr. Chair, it appears Sid Monroe is not online.
Okay, then we will go to Chris Michels. Is he online?
Yes, I'm here.
Go ahead.
Mr. Chair, members of the Commission, I'm here again today to, as I have in the past, to address issues of governance. Because the issues I've raised with you is that going back to 2010, the County Commission appears to have given up all its power over to the county manager and is sort of setting it out and is not doing any real effective job of oversight. I've suggested in the past that you take your responsibility back, and that would involve modifying the code of conduct to take the responsibility from the city manager and reclaim it. We have an interesting case here today which serves to validate these concerns. Immediately prior to this break that you took, you considered an MOU, a memorandum of understanding between the county clerk and the Secretary of State for the upcoming election. I suggest that none of you ever looked at that. You just voted on it. But what's actually going on, if you look closely at that MOU, is the fact that it's 3 weeks overdue. It has to be brought and approved 60 days before the election, which is well past. So on its face, they failed to comply with the law. If you look at it a bit further, there's an appendix on it which tells you what the money is to be spent for in some detail. And I looked at that appendix, and it's riddled with errors. And I stopped counting the errors in the appendix at 5, and just thought, if you want to check it yourself, it's easily verified. So what you've got here is the Secretary of State presented you with a document 3 weeks late, riddled with errors, and you didn't notice it. And I suspect, and I've suggested in the past, that the reason you don't notice it is because you just don't have a staff. You don't have an attorney. You don't have a staff reporting to you who can look at this. So what you end up with is you end up approving pretty much blindly what's brought before you. And I guess that in an ideal world, the county manager would be such a paragon that it wouldn't be of concern. But the current county manager isn't. And so what you're doing week after week is you're passing items brought before you, and you have no idea or no accurate idea of what's in them. So you just blindly pass on them. I mean, this really must stop. I mean, the case today with this MOU is just one of many. There was another item that you passed on earlier in the agenda today, where the head of finance brought you a bill to raise the limit $10 million. The reason is because that they messed up before and forgot to put it in a previous item. Now, so you've got people that are just coming before you with bills that say, if you look at them, you should reject them because they're just not well done or their ideas are wrong. But you don't have the time personally, nor do you have the staff, nor do you have an attorney to catch all these errors. So what happens is you're proceeding on a blind assumption that the county manager and the county clerk and the rest of these people that are bringing you have no idea, no way to vet what you're being asked to do. But can't you see, this is totally intractable. If you're going to serve the interests of the public, there must be some way that you know that the quality of the material being brought to you has actually been vetted and that it's accurate. The other thing you're missing is you're not getting the opposing opinion. They bring you bills that support what they want from you, but they don't give you the alternative view, which is always necessary. What I'm saying is, please go back, be adults, reverse what you did in 2010, take back your power, and act and begin to govern responsibly. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much. Do we have anyone else online who has their hand raised?
Mr. Chair, there are no other users online indicating that they'd like
You
to
like
speak.
that?
Well said, well said.
Okay, we'll move on to matters from the county manager, number 9. Manager Schaefer.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and Commissioners. Do want to remind the board as well as the general public that our 2024 Strategic Planning Summit is scheduled for Thursday and Friday of this week, beginning at 9 a.m. on each day. We will be setting up in roundtable discussion style in the commission chambers. Packet material has been provided by the board in hard copy, and PDF documents are on board docs. In addition, I wanted to alert the board to the fact that we will be undergoing a formal name change with regard, and remind the board, as it came up during budget discussions, that we'll be undergoing an official change of address with regard to the county administration complex, which was formerly addressed as 100 Catron. There will be a variety of addresses assigned to the county administration complex to account for various access points, including the underground parking garage, but we will be issuing a press release and otherwise doing outreach to inform the public of that address change. Looking forward, we are planning for the Better Informed Public Officials Conference that is being provided by New Mexico counties from December 10th to December 12th. We do have budget both for our new incoming commissioners as well as commissioners whose terms will be extending into 2025 should any of you desire to attend. And finally, the county's ordinance with regard to single-use plastic bans did go into effect yesterday, September 23rd, 2024. And we have been doing a variety of outreach relative to that ordinance to help ensure compliance with the effective date of it. And that's it for my miscellaneous updates. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Now we'll go to matters from county commissioners. And Commissioner Bustamante, I think it's your turn to go first.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I do have one thing that I'd like to question whether or not it should be part of our strategic planning. We're approaching a year since we discussed the online, this is a land use issue, a process where people can follow applications online. When we discussed this, there was something already in the works for this purpose, but so that people can track them, people are aware of what's been applied for. We see a timeline, we get feedback. I understand that there was a platform that was being evaluated for this purpose, and hearing again that we don't have, I don't want to go the negative, that we have more opportunity for continued transparency. But I'd like to either put this on the strategic planning process or make sure it gets up off the ground, because it appears to be something that we had said was going to happen, but for some reason we're not seeing that particular platform available so that people can actually see what applications are in, what the status of their application is. If somebody had a question about what's going on, these things exist, and I ask for that to be moved forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Hamilton.
I just wanted to thank everybody for the absolutely lovely birthday wishes and for the chocolate cake, which was actually quite delightful.
All right. Commissioner Hanson.
Thank you. I've had a busy couple of weeks, but the most exciting thing was that I was invited to be on In Focus for PBS on our land, and I was interviewed about the electrical power line across the Caja del Rio. Myself and Hilario Romero were interviewed by Laura Pascas, and then former Governor Mark Mitchell did an interview with her also. So it was great that In Focus highlighted the concerns of the power line across the Caja del Rio. And I was honored to be on the show, and I'll be sending that out on my newsletter. So if you didn't get a chance to see it, you can click on it on the newsletter and see it. Also, on September 12th and 13th, I attended an energy symposium held at the Santa Clara. Representative Tara Lujan put that on. Staff, our sustainability staff attended also. And Beth Beloff and I were on a panel for the Coalition of Sustainable Communities of New Mexico and the New Mexico Climate Investment Center. So we got to get that information out to other people. Then on Saturday, I had the coffee and tea under the trees, even though it was a little blustery. But the constituents in the Agua Fria Village have went out and got a Main Street grant on their own, and so we talked about the Agua Fria History Cultural Center that we are interested in developing there, and we will talk more about that at the strategic planning. And then yesterday, I went to the annual Canyon Road picnic at the Water History Park and Museum as part of being on the River Commission, because there was quite a bit of concern, and still is, about the 2 Mile Pond. And since I sit on the City of Santa Fe River Commission, we did a tour on August 15th of that pond, the 2 Mile Dam, 2 Mile Pond area. And so I reported it to, I gave them an update. And we have a number of new members on the River Commission, and almost all of them are hydrologists. It's, the River Commission now probably has at least 7 hydrologists on it. And then on Monday night, September 30th, there will be a meeting at the Harold Runnels Building about the petroleum plume that has been in existence since the 1950s, if not before. And a number of my constituents are concerned about it. It is between the School for the Deaf and the rail yard area. So if any of you would like to join us, I believe it starts at 5:30 to 7, and it's at the Harold Reynolds building, and it's hosted by NMED. And that's all I have for the moment.
Okay, Commissioner Green.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Busy week, or busy couple weeks for myself as well. Not in any particular order, but just in what my notes have. I want to thank the Tesuque Valley Community Organization or Association for inviting me to their board meeting last night. We shared some items of interest, and one of the areas of commonality that we all have to deal with here that is of high concern in the Tesuque area is about the loss of fire insurance. And so this is something that we're all dealing with. I know Commissioner Hamilton is spearheading a little bit of this on our behalf. This affects my district as well, and the Tesuque community up there seems to be losing their fire insurance coverage. And so one of the solutions is fire hydrants. And so that was one of the opportunities that we could start working on with the Amet settlement and how we build out that facility there. Also up in the north, I'm putting together a meeting to meet with some of the leadership in the community, cultural, and historical preservation of the Chimayo area, the Plaza Restoration, and the Historical Society up there. We're going to be having a meeting to work on some of the early planning plans to help them with their plaza restoration and maybe some other projects up in the area up there. I serve as the vice chair on ReadyNet, and we met 2 weeks ago. We had a presentation about the BEAD funding programs and the rollouts. One of the areas that is of interest, and if anybody wants to work with me in the next week, we have 1 week to produce a commentary to provide comment on the project area, PAU, project areas, units. And these area units are the areas that will be able to be bid upon by ISPs, internet service providers, or the county, or whoever wants to go build something out. And some of these make some sense, and a bunch of them don't make very much sense. And so it is a good idea for us all to sit down and look at these maps and say, wow, this doesn't make sense. Could you break this up, or could you combine these two areas because this makes more sense? These are decisions being made by the state without the knowledge that we have of our community and how some logical service areas would make sense. So if you'd like to reach out to me and to look at the maps, I'd be happy to sit down with any of the commissioners to help provide comment on that, because it might provide better opportunities to bring broadband to parts of our area. Bishop's Lodge, a little report on that. Bishop's Lodge Resort has received a permit from the county to develop a wastewater system, a leach field. That was the goal of the community, to receive a no discharge solution here. They are in the process of building that out and have applied to the New Mexico Environment Department to get a groundwater permit, extending or renewing or whatever the actual solution is here, but it's a new or revised groundwater discharge permit. So this would reduce or eliminate the need to discharge into the Little Tasugi Creek. And this is what the community was looking for. So I think there's a little bit of a happy dance attached to that. I also attended the Hispano Chambers 40 Under 40 event, which was very inspiring and very aspirational. Inspiring because it was great to see a lot of young professionals doing great work in our community. Santa Fe has been getting a reputation of getting pretty old, but it was nice to see a whole bunch of under 40-year-olds actually doing great things in the community, and it was great to see that recognition. I was really happy to know and have worked with 9 of the 40 professionals there, and I was like, wow, I actually know some young people. This is great. But on the other side of it, it was also aspirational because it's been a long time since I was under 40, so it was great to sort of wish for those things. I was the chair of the MPO this year. The MPO had a statewide meeting last week, and I welcomed the statewide folks from all of the MPOs in the state that came up to Santa Fe, as well as a bunch of folks from the New Mexico Department of Transportation as they came in for a day-long conference to discuss the common issues that they're having and some new opportunities that are coming down the pike, both with state and federal funding. And that was great to see everybody all excited, and they were very appreciative that we hosted this, and they sent their love to everybody here. Not quite last, but I would also like to thank the county for supporting the spay and neuter clinic that was hosted about a week ago. There were over 150 dogs and cats that were spayed and neutered. People came from all over the county. It was held at Nambe Pueblo, but there were folks that came up from Edgewood. There's even a family that came up from Albuquerque. They did not receive the subsidized rates that Santa Fe County made possible to the residents of Santa Fe County, but nonetheless, they were accommodated by the group there, and they just paid full freight, whatever. That was still pretty affordable, but it wasn't at the super subsidized rate that the county did. It was amazing. It was really wonderful. Went out there one of the days and saw a handful of friends and constituents and residents that I knew that were out there, and the cutest dogs you could ever see. They were, it was pretty cute and happy. And lastly, I want to send out a big monumental birthday to my liaison. Ambra Baca is going to be turning a very important milestone of birthdays that will remain unmentioned here, but later this week, and she deserves a big happy birthday from all of us and from me. So happy birthday, Ambra, and thank you very much for what you do for Santa Fe County.
Commissioner Hanson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I forgot to mention that we had this great event out at Los Luceros for the Northern Rio Grande National Heritage Area. It's our second annual Culture and Creatives Art Show, which was very well attended. And it was a beautiful show. It was juried show by a number of really special artists in northern New Mexico who you might not see otherwise because many of them don't have galleries, but the Northern Rio Grande National Heritage Area is doing trainings for artists to learn how to promote their work. And then I also wanted to share with the commission that I have invited Ted Waika, who is the National Nuclear Security Administration manager, the Los Alamos field office, and I asked him to come and give a presentation to us. He presents to the Los Alamos County Board, and I thought this was an opportune time, so he has agreed to come to one of our meetings in October, where we can ask him questions and talk to him about pit production and the power line and a number of other things that are going on the NNSA side. Okay, thank you, Mr.
Okay.
Chair.
I just have a few things. the ECIA El Dorado Community Improvement Association is doing a community wildfire protection plan, which relates to all this insurance stuff, although we're not in, at least none of District 5, I think, is in the wildfire danger area or the severe danger area, but they're still concerned. Route 4, I think we are having several protections done on Bonanza Creek Road and Shenandoah Road, but they're not going further up than that. They're right at Route 14. The plastic ban went into effect yesterday, and I went to shop at the Supermart just to make sure they were obeying it, and they were. The lady in front of me complained that she wanted a plastic bag, and the cashier very politely directed her to aisle 10 to buy one. Not that they aren't giving them out for free. And then finally, I did attend the Rio Transit District's 20th anniversary celebration, at which they had some very lovely hoop dancers perform, and it was really amazing. So that's it for me. And are there any other elected officials who would like to make comments at this time? Okay, none are seen. Matters from the county attorney. Attorney Young, would you like to lead us in?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair and Commissioners. I would ask that we go into executive session to discuss the purchase, acquisition, or disposal of real property or water rights as allowed by Section 10-15-1H8 NMSA 1978, and that's specifically including lease of county property for use as a post office.
I will make a motion to go into an executive session to discuss the items that the county attorney has laid out.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Green, seconded by Commissioner Hamilton. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Anna Hamilton?
Yes.
Commissioner Justin Green?
Yes.
Commissioner Anna Hansen?
Yes.
Commissioner Camilla Bustamante? Yes. And Chair Hank Hughes?
Yes. So we will go into executive session. I guess we will come back to potential action on items discussed. But that's the only thing we'll come back for. Can I have a motion to take us out of executive session?
Mr. Chair, I move that we come out of executive session, stating that we only spoke about the items that the county attorney and that we went into executive session to discuss. And no decisions were made.
Second.
Okay, motion by Commissioner Green, seconded by Commissioner Hamilton. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It passes unanimously. And is there one more motion?
There is. Thank you, Mr. Chair. I am going to make a motion that we prepare a resolution rescinding Resolution 2024-90, which was the resolution to pursue a post office at the Benny J. Chavez Center in Chimayo, and to bring that forward at the next meeting of the Board of County Commissioners.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Green, seconded by Commissioner Hamilton. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Next, we have reports that we read or will read.
I wanted to say something about the reports. I know there isn't anybody here, but I wanted to thank everybody for the reports because I did read them, and they're really informative, and I highly recommend that my fellow commissioners read the reports.
Thank you. Announcements? Anybody announcements?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing you all on Thursday morning at 9 a.m.
All right.
for the strategic planning.
And do we have a ribbon cutting also?
Oh, that's what else I forgot. Oh, my God. I have a ribbon cutting tomorrow morning. I hope you all come at 11 o'clock at San Ysidro Crossing. I couldn't remember all the things on my list.
All right.
But it's a groundbreaking. It's not a ribbon cutting. It's a groundbreaking for the next section, Section B of the Santa Fe River Trail. I have invited all my river commissioner also, and I hope some of them come. I also invited a number of city councilors selected.
Well, I may not make it. I may not make it tomorrow because my son is getting married tomorrow afternoon. I have to leave for that.
Yes, a very good excuse. Commissioner Green can come.
Okay, can we have a motion to adjourn?
Second.
Okay, motion by Commissioner Bustamante, seconded by Commissioner Hamilton. All in favor say aye.
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 No, we made it by 4. We're done by 5 o'clock.
Oh, but I had 4:45. No, just kidding.
What did you win?
You win.
Congratulations to your son.
You win a piece of chocolate cake.